Bienvenidos a otro episodio más. Yo soy tu amiga Cintia Alcázar y estoy aquí con mi hermana
Alondra Alcázar.
Ese es el episodio número 7, chicos. Ya llegamos hasta el número 7. ¿Tú puedes creer eso?
I know, dude, we're on it.
We are. We literally keep posting every single week. And you know what? If you still haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so right now. Like and probably share it to somebody that we're gonna be talking today about my sister's story.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys remember episode number 2. So the first one was introducing ourselves. That one was super brief. And then episode number 2 era todo de Cintia, que Cintia compartiera. Basically, we wanted to both introduce ourselves in that same episode, but there was too much to cover. It would have been like a 2-hour episode for sure. So
yeah,
we put mine on pause, and then it was Mother's Day that came, like Mother's Day
month.
No, iba entrando el mes de mayo, so we wanted to dedicate that month to inviting different mothers, mamás emprendedoras, our grandma and our mom. If you guys haven't checked those out, please do so. So I was like, you know what? We can hold off on my episode, like my story, for June, because
it's her birthday.
Yes, June is my birthday month. So let's start off on a good note. Let's start off with talking about everything about Alondra.
Before we start and get into my sister, we want to thank Carla Cárdenas for gifting us our sign Entre Risas y Llantos.
Yes.
Carla Cárdenas estuvo aquí como guest. Ella es la dueña de 3 restaurantes, La Cabaña, El Puerto Número 2 y El Mezcalito. Si son del área de Chicago y no han ido a esos restaurantes, les recomiendo que vayan a probar.
She was on what? Episode 4? Episode 5? Episode 5.
She was on episode 5. Así que si no han visto también la entrevista, vayan a verla. Hey, but you gotta tell me what's up with this cup because there's a lot going on.
Okay, so I just got a lot of stickers to encourage me to drink more water because I want to be seen with this cup. I feel like lately I've been forgetting to drink water. Like I used to be on my gallon journey.
Yeah.
Remember when I used to drink a gallon? And then lately, no sé qué, pero siento que apenas estoy tomando agua. So compré un chingo de stickers so that I could take it everywhere with me.
So you could just show off your sticker. Where'd you get these stickers from?
From Shein.
Oh.
Uno dice, ponte las pinches pilas. Please leave me alone. I'm overstimulated. I cannot relate more. Born to yap. Hence why we have this podcast. Pretty girls drink matcha just because I fucking love matcha.
Main character energy. This is literally my sister, dude.
Yes, because I'm conceited. And then this one says, I'm literally just a girl. That's, I think, every girl's favorite saying right now. Yeah. I'm literally just a girl. Only attracted to what is good for me. I feel like this like the stickers.
I really like the stickers though.
They really represent me.
Yeah. They really do.
Uno dice, no, pues está cabrón. Make yourself a priority. Because I love tea. Esos stickers ya los había tenido por mucho tiempo. I didn't know where to put them, so I'm putting them to good use. De rebelde. Este dice, okay over arguing. What does it say? Arguing with anybody. Aggressively drinks water, drink more agüita.
I really like the ponte las pinches pilas.
Yeah, it's cute. And then you don't have to have everything figured out. And then this one says, this is my emotional support water bottle, because I don't know how long I went without washing this fucking water bottle. I literally had to, I'm like, I wish I had a freaking dishwasher like you to disinfect it. So I left this boiling in hot water because I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I had a lipstick que no se le quitaba, güey.
No manches.
Pero if anything, I feel like these stickers fucking represent me. And I think that's a good segue into showing you guys the things that represent me a little bit. Oh, and I also have like yoga stickers because I am on the track to becoming certified. Instructor. Yeah, I want to become certified as a yoga instructor. I won a scholarship through the Latina Sweat Project. So thank you so much for picking me as one of the winners. And I can't wait to become a yoga instructor. But let's move on to the nitty gritty about today. You know what my favorite question in the world is?
I wonder.
Tell me about yourself.
Oh my! She's gonna be yapping through with that nonstop. If her man was here, if Marlon was here, he would be like, "Ya, que ya pare." What, in English?
No, you know what? Like Marlon knows. Marlon doesn't like yappers. He doesn't like yappers, but he's with one, and he was just like, "I don't like other yappers," but. He's like,
he comes here and he complains about my sister. He'd be like, you know, your sister don't shut the fuck up. He'd be like, yep, 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 yep. And he's like, sometimes I'm not. I don't feel like I could receive everything.
You do though.
No, he said that.
Oh yeah, maybe yeah. He don't. But I feel like he's just good at just listening.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, like I am the type where I wake up I don't wake up, ¿cómo se dice? Like,
Modorra.
modorra. Cuando te levantas toda modorra. Yo no me levanto así, güey. Yo me levanto and I'm up.
No, yo no.
And I want to tell you about my dream. And before I fucking forget.
Oh, yeah.
And I cannot talk to Martin for like 2 hours in the morning. I kid you not. I cannot talk to him in the morning for 2 hours because he needs to... First, if he's still in bed, do not talk to him. I had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah.
Do not talk to him. He has to go to the bathroom, brush his teeth, wash his face, and then he still needs a good 30 to 40 minutes.
That would be me, dude. That's literally me.
And I'm just like, hi, like, let me tell you about my dream.
But you'd be like, I don't care.
Yeah. In the second episode when Cynthia introduced herself, I was already thinking like, what am I going to say when it's my turn? Porque en el tuyo cubrimos like desde tu infancia, how you met Javi, and like why you are the way you are.
Yeah, I think we stopped when we were like, porque ella era la oveja negra. And basically like en la entrada de cuando conocí a Javi. And that pretty much, because ya cuando conocí a Javi, it was like a whole different story.
Yeah, and I feel like that's why I'm just like, it's so hard because I don't know how deep to dive into a lot of like my story. I do want to start off introducing myself as like who Alondra is, the types of things, my morals, what I believe in. I know that me and my sister share a lot of morals, but we do tend to think differently on certain things.
Yeah.
I consider myself a very empathetic person. I feel like I feel things super deeply. I don't know if you remember when I was little, we went to Walgreens a no sé qué en la noche y había una señora... I feel like you don't remember, but había una señora que estaba pidiendo dinero enfrente de Walgreens because she had gotten cereal, but she needed money to buy the milk for her kids. And I remember you were like, oh no, like I don't have cash. And I remember crying because desde chiquita, way, like ya me dolía que I'm like, no, Cynthia, give her money. And I wanted to go back. I'm like, and I told my mom and my dad or one of them, I was like, ya me había una señora que necesita dinero para darle leche a sus niños. Imagínate, yo desde niña ya sabiendo cómo se siente una señora. And I'm just like, that's so sad. She's not able to feed her kids. And the thing is, she had the cereal box. She just didn't have enough to pay for the milk, supposedly. And that just gives you a little glimpse. Like, I've been like that since I was little. So on that note, I also feel like I'm someone that I'm very apologetic. No me gusta ser rencorosa. Because eso es algo que mi mamá nos enseñó.
Eso somos igual. Yo no soy rencorosa tampoco.
Yeah, I don't like holding grudges. And yo no duro enojada. Y dura, and it takes a lot to make me mad. Because, like, I don't like being mad. No me gusta tener... Y cuando estoy enojada, duro enojada como por una hora. And then I'm just like, this is exhausting. Like, I don't want to be mad. Being mad makes your freaking head hurt. And I'm just like, why the fuck do I want to keep feeling like this?
Right.
So that already alone shows you guys, like, I'm so not problematic. Nunca he peleado. When your episode, we talked about how Cynthia you're short-tempered.
Yeah.
And I'm not short-tempered. It takes me a long time to get mad. Pero cuando me enojo, es porque ya people really tested me. Like, it takes a lot for me to have outbursts.
You know, I think nunca te he visto así enojada.
You have.
No, así.
You're the one person that would make me the most mad.
I know, pero no, así enojada que digamos, nunca hemos durado más de un pinche día hablarnos.
Oh, I know.
Siempre nos contentamos ese mismo día, dude.
Yeah.
You're very comprehensive.
Yeah, also, like I said, I don't like being mad. I don't like holding grudges. I'm just like, no me gusta la atención. And I'm also a people pleaser. And that was hard to accept. I'm like, that's one of those things that I'm just like, it's something that I want to fix about myself. Because I do have very much people pleasing tendencies. And I think it comes from like desde niña, porque yo soy la menor y la bebé de la casa, a mí me ponían a hacer todo. Que, wait, Alondra, I would be upstairs, I would be somewhere in the house, que tráeme un vaso de agua. Everybody, you, my dad, my mom, todos aprovechaban. And my dad would be like, Alondra, ve a cerrar el barandal. You know how many fucking times I had to do that every day? Yeah. I would have to go and lock the gate or de atrás. I fucking hated doing that. Or my dad would check the cameras. Mija, la luz de abajo no está apagada. So, and I couldn't say no. I could not say no. And you guys were so used to me saying yes. Yeah. And that's what made me a freaking people pleaser. Always saying yes to people. It's really hard for me to say no. So people don't fucking take advantage of me.
Pídale dinero para que les diga
don't
que
take advantage of me. And I have a good heart. I have a big heart, I feel like. And that's why it's really hard for me to set boundaries with people. And I think that being with Marlon is teaching me that because Marlon is hella grounded. no one could take advantage of Marlon. Él es bien firme. Like, he would be like,
a lot of people who are watching this probably don't even know who Marlon is.
Marlon, girl. They're like, who are you guys? Actually, who the fuck are y'all?
Exactly. No, pero si son nuevos, diles que
Pues
quién
si
es
son
Marlon.
nuevos, que ya sé que casi a lo mejor no son, pero pues sí, Marlon is my boyfriend. Ya estamos, we have been together for 5 years. So yeah, Marlon, él es definitivamente más de carácter fuerte. He does not like when people take advantage of me. And he tells me these things. And I'm just like, no, Marlon. He'll be like, no. Like, this and this and that. Or don't do that. And then I still do it. He'd be like, oh, my God.
Do you think by being a people pleaser ever got in the way by putting yourself first?
Yes. I think I'm very selfless. Siempre estoy pensando en los demás. ¿Qué es lo que hay? Si yo reacciono de una cierta manera.
¿Qué va a pensar la otra persona?
Yeah. And I feel like I've been in positions where I'm just like, trato de quedar bien. And I'm just like, damn, why did I do that? That they didn't deserve that. There's been many situations
but you
like
know
that.
what? I think that comes with blessings too. Porque a veces cuando tú haces favores o cuando tú haces cosas, nunca vas a recibir lo que tú piensas que vas a recibir de esa persona. I don't think you're going to receive it from that person, but you're going to receive it from another.
Yeah.
I look at it that way porque yo he ayudado gente y yo no espero que me den la misma approach para mí, pero lo recibo somewhere else.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And yo no gusto, a mí no me gusta contar los favores que hago a la gente.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my mom has instilled a lot of beautiful morals growing up. Ella es la que nos enseñó que nunca te deberíamos de tener rencor en el corazón. Dice, mi hija, te afecta más a ti tener odio y rencor en tu corazón que a la persona que tienes ese sentimiento. And then also, like, mi mamá siempre ha dicho, si vas a hacer algo que te nazca y sin, like, without expecting something in return.
¿Y sabes qué? Siempre que nos enojábamos, siempre esperaba que you better apologize right there and then. Like, o te daba como máximo 1 hora.
Mm-hmm.
Y igual con mi papá, ves que te acuerdas que mi papá también nos enojábamos o chocábamos y luego como a la hora o 2 horas, mi hija, perdóname. Y
Really?
siempre, no duramos todo el día.
Yeah.
Al menos cuando me fui de la casa, pero that's another story.
My dad would say sorry to me, but I'm just like...
My dad always apologized. And I think that's what grew up, que también nosotros no tuviéramos rencor.
Yeah. That's so true. And then also the forgiveness thing, that has hurt me in a lot of situations because as I'm going to go deeper into, it's like how I started tapping into my lover girl era. Porque desde que yo era niña, yo siempre he tenido novios. Like, literally. But you've been through that. Like, yo siempre he tenido... Honestly, I don't give a fuck. Yo siempre he tenido pegue desde niña.
Sí, pero ¿cuántos no? Yo no te conocí tú muchos.
Pero you know when you're little, you had boyfriends on MySpace.
Sí.
Pero you get me? Like, I always had little boyfriends.
Okay.
I always had little boyfriends. I didn't have my first kiss maybe until like 7th grade.
Oh, wow.
Or 8th. One of those two. I've always been a lover girl. I just love love. Tengo un tatuaje en mi espalda, on my spine, because I wanted it to represent like my backbone. Tengo un tatuaje en mi espalda que dice, sin amor no sería nada. My sister used to say, sin pito no sería nada. What's the other tattoo that I have on my ass? Llena de miel?
Yeah,
and you were like, llena de grasa. Dude, she's my biggest hater.
No, I'm not. I'm not your hater.
Anyway, but no, I really do think I'm like, love heals.
Güey, es que antes estabas más nalgona.
I'm like, I truly believe, I'm like, dude, love could heal the world. And we were just drowned with love desde niñas. Like, nuestros papás sí nos chiquieron demasiado. And I want to get a tattoo like right here of a heart, but like the anatomy of a heart, like como un corazón.
Oh, yo pensé que te ibas a poner chiqueada.
No, güey, chiqueada. No, me quiero tatuar un corazón, pero like the way like a heart looks, not just like a freaking heart like that. Because I want it to symbolize like I carry my heart up my sleeve.
Oh, pues sí.
Because I'm a very emotional person, which by the way, like I have mentioned in the previous episode, I'm a Cancer sun. So yeah, I feel Cancers are the mothers of the zodiac. Very nurturing. We show our love through our actions. So like, I show my love by cooking for you or by doing by doing like acts of service. I feel like I'm a very dependable person. Porque nunca digo no, güey. Nunca digo no.
Sí, ya veo.
But people can count
No, a
on
mí
me.
siempre me dices que no cuando no quieres cuidar a mis kids.
No, wait, todavía. No, I'm
Dude,
sending,
to this day.
that's
ya me
Marlon.
dice,
That's Marlon teaching me to set boundaries.
literally me dice, ya últimamente no me has cuidado mis niños.
Y ni los quiero cuidar hasta que cumplan como seis para arriba.
That's messed
Hasta que
up.
Santi cumpla 6 y Gigi tenga 7.
They're good now.
No. Anyway, yeah, for as long as I can remember, dude, I've been in relationships like my whole life. Así como dije, desde chiquilla siempre tenía como noviecillos. And I think desde like 5th grade, I've always had like a little boyfriend. Obviously, they weren't even serious. Before dating Marlon, so I've been with Marlon for 5 years. But before Marlon, I was like I think that one was for sure. I don't know because
Your aprendizaje.
I was in a couple of serious relationships. Before
Yeah.
Marlon, I was in a 4-year freaking relationship. I think that one was the most que me marcó en la vida porque aprendí muchísimo de esa relación. Y antes de ese güey estuve en una relación por 2 años.
Yeah.
Y antes de ese güey estuve en una relación de otros 2 años. Since like, I don't know, 8th grade para arriba.
You've just been
I've been in
taken.
relationships one after the other. And the crazy thing is, yeah, I've been taken.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they all broken up with me.
See, that's
I've
that's
never
the
broken
crazy
up.
part that I cannot. I'm like, what the hell did you do? So, para qué?
No, the thing is, they broken up with me because even though I sensed that the relationship was going bad,
Right.
and there was hella red flags, or uno ya siente cuando yo creo que la relación se está terminando, I never had the guts to end it. I couldn't, because es lo que yo digo, like,
You don't have the
no tenía la firmez. Yeah.
and you don't have the heart to break their heart. You think that you're going to break their heart.
Yes, and I always feel like maybe this could be fixed because, and honestly, the saddest part, and I've told my mom this, I'm like, ¿sabes qué? And there was many times in my parents' relationship, where me and my sister were probably already divorcing them, because we're like, like you shouldn't be dealing with this shit. Whatever, they renewed their vows, they're fine right now. But I told my mom one time when I was super heartbroken, I'm like, ¿sabes qué, Mal? Yo creo que tú eres la que me enseñaste that I should just be dealing with bullshit. Yeah, I was pissed because I'm like, you don't even set the example for me. I'm like, how am I supposed to know to value myself when I don't even have the example? You get me?
Damn. Wait,
And my mom stood quiet. She was just like, damn.
you didn't even learn it from me, girl? I broke up with everybody.
Really?
I broke up and I don't think nobody has broken up with me.
Yeah. But obviously it's like one of those things when I start thinking, I'm like, damn, why am I like this? And I'm just like, what if my mom taught me this to just always be dealing with what people put you through?
I think because you're the youngest and like you said, you're the people pleaser.
Yes.
And because I also was like,
you're also impulsive and I'm not impulsive.
Yes.
Yo sí pienso las cosas demasiado.
Yo no.
Demasiado. I put so much thought into it. But you know what? I will say that I can move on. I can move on. I'm a strong believer that you can fall in love again and again.
You just need 1 month.
I think so, dude. No, because, and you know what's crazy? A lot of those relationships that failed, they all wanted to get back with me at some point. At some point, me rogaron. And it was too late.
Yeah, because
even if it was 1 to 2 months, it was too late. I will say the relationship before Marlon, that one is a relationship that really, really marked me. It changed me in so many ways. I felt like era una de las peores relaciones que tuve, pero it had to happen.
It was your lesson right there.
Oh yeah, he was my karmic relationship. I was meant to be with that person at the time that I was meant to be with him because I learned the most through him. I learned to love myself. The longest I've ever been single in my life was from that relationship to Marlon, which was 6 months. Dude, that was a lot for me. I was pushing it.
But you had to go through your whole moment.
Dude, I wanted to be a hoe. I'm like, dude, like I've never been a hoe. And what I mean by that is like by exploring, because I had never did a dating phase.
Right.
Because I was always like, I would meet someone and then I would stick with them. And that was it. I was in another relationship. So I had never dated. Like I was never into dating.
You never met a lot of candidates.
Yeah. And dude, I had a roster in that time. I had a roster. And I remember, so from that ex to meeting Marlon, that was the longest I've ever been single. That was 6 months. I'm like, sheesh, like, there's cobwebs down there. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, No, and also I didn't like when I had the roster. I'm like, I didn't like that. I'm like, I like to have undivided attention. Like I like to feel loved and cared for. And when you're talking to different people at the same time, I'm like, they don't give a fuck.
No.
They don't give a
They
fuck.
just want to hit it and quit it.
Yeah, I didn't like that shit. When I met Marlon, I was in the headspace where I was like, I actually didn't want to date. I did want to at least 1 year single. Para
Okay.
que yo me propusiera algo. I'm like, yo quiero comprobarme que I could be single for a year. So when I met Marlon, I've mentioned this when we were in when Marlon and I were a guest in a different podcast, the Clueless podcast. Shout out to Carmen. In her podcast episode, which I encourage you guys to go watch it, we talk about how we met and everything. We talk about like how I was definitely like in my single era, like I did not want to get into another relationship because I've always been such a lover girl. Marlon was a freaking hoe in college. And that's why I got with him, because I'm just like, de aquí nada va a salir.
Y mira, se enamoraron.
Yeah. Because it was weird how when I met him, he was probably in the mentality like, I want to settle down. And I think that goes to my next topic of like how everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Everything, divine timing. I wasn't sure whether to reserve this topic for now or into another episode. But remember we talked about like what I believe is like the domino effect of your decisions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's already a term for it, but let's just say we're going to call it the domino effect. I feel like every decision you make in your life is going to lead you exactly where you need to be. And I like, it's kind of like literally like dominoes, how like you push one and it leads to the other thing, and eventually they like all go down and go down. Let's go back to my first this big decision I feel like I ever made as a teenager.
Yeah.
My biggest decision that I ever made was to transfer. That's a big fucking decision. My parents didn't make that decision. That was my decision. I was in the high school Chicago Bulls, which whatever. I went from Chicago Bulls and I didn't want to be there no more because it was hella strict. And I told my mom, I'm like, I want to transfer to a different school. So I looked into Hancock High School. And my mom was like, are you sure? I'm like, yes, I'm positive. Like for me at freaking 15 years old to make that decision.
And you already had friends over there, so it's not like...
Yeah, that's honestly the hardest part, because I made some really good friends there. And we actually remained friends.
Right.
But yeah, that was a really hard decision. I wanted to stay for the people, but for the freaking sake of my mental health, like school should not be making you fucking cry. And especially that young, I'm like, I don't want this for myself.
You had a lot of work, like...
That school lidiaba con discipline. I'm like, I don't need discipline.
Yeah.
I like school. I want to succeed. So if I had never transferred to Hancock, I would have never met my ex.
Right.
Ooh, that was the ex that I was with before Marlon for 4 years. If I would have never met him, he was the reason that I followed him to college, to the college that I went to, where I eventually met Marlon, dude. Isn't that freaking crazy?
Yeah.
How one decision led to the other. What if I would have never freaking transferred?
You would have never met your ex.
I would have never met Marlon. I probably would have never gone to that school, because you know where I really wanted to go? To Urbana.
Uh-huh.
I knew for sure since I was little que si me quería largar de la pinche casa. Que me iba a largar. And I for sure wanted to be away. Urbana is still 3 hours away.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to go to that school. My ex was 1 year older than me, and I met him my junior year, towards the end of my junior year. So I basically met him when he was about to head out to college. And then when I was starting my senior year, obviously we were already dating. I applied to his school. I applied to a lot of schools near him because I wanted to go away.
Y yo la regañaba all the time, like, don't go follow him, porque vas y esto que el otro. Y tú, I'm gonna go.
No, it was one of the schools that I applied for.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it was going to be related to money. I knew that I was like, I'm not going to be dumb and only go to that school. And if it's super expensive, it was actually the school that offered me the most scholarships to be away.
Right.
So it gave me the opportunity to be away. Y era la que era más barata. The school I got a full ride was UIC. But I wasn't staying here, dude. I did not want to stay here.
Why you didn't go UIC? I went there.
Yeah, Cynthia graduated from UIC. But I didn't want to be there. Y mis papás no me creían cuando yo les decía que me quería ir. Ay, no te vas a ir. Because nobody in the family had did it. Nobody in the family had done it.
Yeah, yo fui la primera a ir en college y luego después mi hermana.
So my mom would be like, ay, Alondra, nomás haz lo que hizo Cynthia. go to community college for like 10 years. Go to community college and then go to a 4-year institution.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't give a fuck what Cynthia did. I don't want to do that. I've always dreamt, like in the freaking movies, que yo me voy a largar de esta pinche casa.
Y querías irte a las pinches parties.
No, it's because, dude, my dad was super strict. And you, like, when you were growing up, you didn't give a fuck. But I did. Like, my dad was, I feel like he was really strict with me. And I didn't want to stay in the household. I'm like, I know. Y qué bueno que me fui, because that actually did help him to be less strict when I would be in vacation.
Right.
But yeah, he didn't let me go to parties. I had to be home during a certain time.
At 9 or 10 max.
Yes, dude. I'm like, cuando me llamaba mi papá, dude, I don't think I ever felt a happy emotion when my dad would call.
Yeah.
It was always like, ay.
¿Para qué me llama?
Nunca era mi hija, ¿cómo está? No. Alondra. And que esa sea la pinche última vez que no sé qué. Pues siempre con amor. Que esa sea la última pinche vez que hagas esto. Okay, mi amor. Okay, bebé. Okay, mi chula.
Yeah.
But no, I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. And you know what? This is why I feel like parents shouldn't be too freaking strict with their kids, because strict parents make sneaky kids. Y la cosa es que a Cintia, pues yo aprendí de la mejor. Aprendí. I learned so much that I became better than you.
You really did.
Because I never got caught.
Y el pedo es que tú nunca me decías tan bien por ser chismosa.
Yeah, que Cintia era una pinche chismosa.
Yeah.
And no, I wouldn't tell nobody that.
No me decías tampoco. Y yo cuando me enteraba, yo decía, no, mi hermana no me dijo.
Güey, nadie creía que yo era capaz de salirme de la casa en la noche.
No.
Because you guys had this like mentality that was very innocent.
Yeah, and that you were really good.
I was good at doing everything I do, like sneaking out. And I learned so much. Like I said, I had the teacher, but I became better than her.
Yeah, she really did.
So I would sneak out. Dude, I became a freaking ninja. Like, ya sabes, cuando salíamos de la casa, ese pinche barandal que teníamos hacía un puto ruidazo.
Oh, sí,
I learned how to jump that shit. The next door neighbors.
Le hubieras puesto aceite. Con aceite no sé.
No, güey, hacía escándalo.
Ajá.
So I just learned to jump.
O de las escaleras de al lado.
No las escaleras. You know how they had a borde?
Ajá.
I jumped that. I would learn. And that was a pretty high.
Yeah.
I would jump it with no chair because I didn't want to leave a trace that if my dad were to come back y encontraba una silla so freaking obvious.
Luego se iba a dar.
Nah, dude, I learned how to jump that shit. I would be like... And it got to the point where I was doing it like this. I'm like, okay, parkour. Like, I was becoming so good. And you know what? Like, my dad, we had cameras. I'd turn off the Wi-Fi because those cameras run on Wi-Fi. Dude, sometimes, I don't know, but I think there was a time que apagué la luz de abajo y así como tenemos las cajas, the lights, I would turn that shit off.
What?
Yeah. And I learned which one was like the part of the house that would control his room and my room. It was like in the bathroom.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, but I only did that once. But for the most part, I always switched off the Wi-Fi.
See, I didn't have that. Yo lo hacía lo de... Si se entera, se entera. Si no, pues...
No, I didn't want my dad to find out. So whatever, I went to go follow this motherfucker in college because I got a good scholarship and also like I wanted to be around him. And this is why I talk about how like the domino effect is so important. I want to share a special detail. Marlon is 20.
He's a year older than you.
He's a full year older than me.
He's about to be 29.
28. He's 27. I'm about to be 27. He's about to be 28. Okay. Marlon is a full year older than me, but we're born in the same month. That shows that me and him should have never been in the same grade.
Mm-hmm.
His mom, and this is why I want to talk about the domino effect. His mom decided to put him late in school. Now, because I told him, I'm like, did you flunk? Just tell me the truth. He was like, no, right. I didn't flunk. My mom just put me in late. So he was 1 year like older. He was 1 year older than everybody in his class. That's so crazy. Basically, he should have been in my ex's grade.
Right.
If he would have, su mamá, desde kindergarten, si su mamá lo hubiera puesto in the age that he was supposed to,
5.
He would have been in my ex's grade. So now let me talk about the importance of timeline. I became single my junior year, summer of going into senior year of college. That's when I became single. It was
around my wedding time.
Yes. It was actually the day before your bridal shower.
Dude, the day of the Cancun trip, because we went to Cancun for my bachelorette, that's when you realize that you were not going to go back to this guy.
Yeah. That trip, I feel like every girl if you are in a breakup, go on a girls trip. It will
help
that's
you.
literally gonna answer everything for you. It's gonna heal you. Please go on a freaking trip when you are going through a breakup.
Yes.
Okay. So I was single going into my senior year.
Uh-huh.
Let's just suppose that if, and this is somebody else's domino effect, like this is somebody else's decision. If Marlon's mom would have placed him in the year that he was supposed to, by the time I was single, he would have graduated if he was in the year above. Isn't that crazy?
Nowadays.
So our timelines wouldn't have crossed
Right.
because I was finally single. So I'm like, that's how crazy how life works.
Mm-hmm.
And how he was supposed to be there. He was supposed to be held back a year for me to wait for me.
Right.
Pero no sé cómo las cosas se escribieron en el universo. It just had to happen that way so that he could, by the time I'm single and he wasn't, or like, by the time I'm single and by the time he was ready to be in a relationship, porque a él nadie le conoció una pinche novia en la escuela.
Right.
Porque este güey era puto. Like, honestly, he was a hoe. Like, he had a reputation. I'm sorry, babe.
And you know what? I don't see Marlon like that because Marlon is so like, I don't see the whole side of him. He's very respectful with you. And I don't think I never had caught him like looking at other girls.
Because I know.
Because he's dating a Latina. He's dating definitely my sister.
You know, there was a lot of hate, I feel like, when we started dating in college. Because our school, we went to a private school in Michigan. Era como high school y todos se conocían.
Yeah.
Y como estás ahí por muchos años, living in college, this is a residential college. Everybody knows each other and it's a freaking web. Literally, it's a spider web of everybody that has fucked with who's each other's Eskimo sisters and brothers and whatever. Which, by the way, if any of my Eskimo sisters are watching this, I know who you guys are. They probably don't think that my man has told me, but I know every single one of them.
Oh.
Yeah, whatever.
Lo que no fue en tu año no te hace daño.
Yeah, honestly, that's why. So, but yeah, I think that's why it's crazy how everything happens exactly the same way that it was supposed to happen.
How was it meeting Marlon?
So we actually matched on Tinder, and
the fucking dating app, right?
Yeah, it was super popular, like,
right.
And this was the first time in my life that I had a dating app, so I was like, fuck it. Dude, I just wanted to know who in the school found me cute. Like, honestly, I was probably just swiping because I'm like, who finds me attractive? Even though I didn't give a
Swipe
fuck.
right or swipe left?
And when I saw him, I was like, honestly, I was thinking about it. I'm like, I'm like, I guess. And the thing is, the first thing Marlon messaged me was, what the hell are you doing on here? Aren't you married? Yeah, because the motherfucker I was with before him, I thought that was going to be the man I was going to marry.
Right.
Like, in my fucking head,
yeah,
that was going to be it. So, and yeah, so that's how it started. No, pero en esa pinche relación, no, güey, yo creo que esa lo tenemos que reservar para otra porque...
Hablando de los exes. Hablando de los cucarachos.
No, hablando de las relaciones tóxicas,
yes,
que son abusivas, that although you're not getting your fucking ass beat, because obviously that was not my case, but you can be getting abused emotionally, psychologically, financially. There's a lot of ways that you could be getting abused. And the thing is, I studied psychology and communication. Por eso en la familia me dicen la psicóloga.
Sí.
Pero I feel like I do have that, like, very approachable sense. Like,
yes,
la gente they open up to me. Even my sister, my mom, and my dad, like, they really do open up to me. O
cuando tenemos un problema familiar, todos acudimos con Alondra.
Yeah, I'm like the mediator.
Yeah.
Because I like to see all sides. I keep all sides into account. Pero la cosa es que yo estudié la psicología y la comunicación. And I remember when I took a interpersonal communication class, and then I also took a forensic class, forensic psychology. In forensic psychology, we talked about abusive relationships.
Oh, okay.
Abuse. What it
means.
There's
like different kinds, no?
Yes.
Oh.
And then, so in psychology, we talked about abuse. And then in my interpersonal communication class, no, it was not that. It was my interpersonal and family communication class. In that class, I learned why divorce happens. And I would be reading this shit, and I'm just like, damn, this is happening to me. And I was just like, the gaslighting, the manipulation, the stonewalling. There's a lot of terms.
We definitely have to do, because, I mean, I didn't experience it mostly, but I know you did, because I saw the red flags.
And this person era machista, era like to the point where I couldn't wear certain clothes. I felt like I feel like maybe he loved me, but I don't think he liked me because he tried changing me. And at any time I would show any type of fucking personality, why you do that? Why you laugh like that? Why did you curse like that? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? It's super important to notice these things. Your partner might love you, they might have love for you, but they might not like you. And I told Marlon, I'm like, do you like me or do you love me? He's like, obviously I love you. I'm like, no, but do you like me as a person? Do you like being around me?
Yeah.
Porque imagínate estar con alguien they're always fucking irritated when being with you. So I'm like, I actually want you to like me first before loving me, because you could love your child and not like them. That's why I was so glad that I went on the fucking trip. And then during this time,
and you swiped right.
I'm so glad I swiped right. No, yeah, I actually had Marlon in classes that year. So we always had classes.
But you guys never talked?
We never talked because I wasn't allowed to have fucking guy friends. So now I'm my senior year. He's not on campus.
Right.
And it allowed me to be fully single. Because imagine having your ex still on campus.
Yeah.
That would have been...
Yeah.
That would have been bad. So having that space definitely helped. And then, so yeah, after meeting Marlon, we did do long distance for, I think, 3 years, because we have been living together for 2. So that was also hard. I mean, we tried to see each other at least once a month, pero sí habían veces que I think the longest we went without seeing each other was 3 months. And I remember that was hard. And after I graduated in 2020, that was like the worst fucking year to graduate. Nobody was hiring. I eventually ended up getting a job, but the job market was really bad.
You had no graduation.
I had no freaking graduation. But eventually 1 year after I graduated, I was offered the opportunity to work in the same college that I graduated from as an admission counselor. And that's a career. I was just like, okay, like, it's kind of scary. I have to move back to Michigan. And in the back of my head, I was just like, you know what? Like, I used to love being there. Fuck it. It's going to be a good opportunity. And so I moved. So yeah, so this was a year after graduation. I moved back to Michigan. And I remember telling Marlon, like, come live with me. Because he was only an hour and a half from Albion. Because he was living in Detroit. Marlon is from Michigan. And he was living in Detroit with his mom. And he did not want to move to Michigan. Oh no, he didn't want to move to Albion.
Right.
He hated Albion. He was just like, hell no, I'm never going back there. But Albion is a rural town. O sea, no hay nada que hacer, güey. Y la cosa es que it was fun as a fucking student because you had your friends living there.
Right.
I was so busy, dude. I had school. I had so many clubs and organizations.
And the parties.
It was, as a student, it was fun for me. Pero ya as an adult, like, that's what it was hard. I had to pay my own rent. That's when I learned what it's like to pay your own fucking rent, your bills, light, your internet, everything, phone. I had phone, rent, light, gas, Wi-Fi, life insurance, and I don't fucking know what else. Or I had loans that I had to pay off. Yeah, the car note. Car insurance, if I didn't mention that already, like, no, dude, apenas pensaba, like, ni me alcanzaba el dinero. Honestly, I feel like that was, I don't have depression, and I'm aware that depression is a mental sickness, but I experienced really heavy feelings of depression. Like, I experienced emotions of depression.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was the most depressed I've ever been in my life. That's when I gained the most fucking weight.
And I feel like when you will come home and visit us, we'll make fun of you que no seas nada.
No, dude, but...
It's okay.
When I think about those times, dude, I felt so lonely because to my family, I don't like showing that I'm weak. I feel like I always want people to know I'm okay. But I was crying like every fucking day.
It's okay, sister.
I was the most broke I've ever been in my fucking life. Like, literally, sometimes I had like $1 in my account. And then I would be like, fuck, dude, I maxed out my credit card.
I literally went through that in college.
And I maxed out my credit card, and I was just like... And I would be crying in McDonald's because I knew that food wasn't good for me.
Right.
Because it was a fucking food desert in that freaking town.
For me, it was more like my mom. I didn't want to ask my mom for money because it was like, how I know my mom probably wouldn't give me money because I know she doesn't have it.
Yeah.
¿Cómo le voy a estar pidiendo prestado?
Exactly. I'm like, my parents are struggling. So honestly, I wanna thank some. I would ask you, and Marlon was also struggling. Like, he did not have a good job at the
Right.
time. And he didn't want to move in with me. And the thing is, that's why it was so hard for me to understand. I'm like, but I'm struggling. Why don't you move in with me? That should not be the reason why you tell your partner to move in
Right.
with you, to help for convenience. It should never be for convenience. It should be a mutual consensus. Like, we're going to move in together because this is the next step in our relationship.
Right.
Y yo como que, güey, ¿cómo no te quieres mudar conmigo?
To help me out.
To help me out.
Right.
And the thing is, like, Marlon is very firm, and he was just like, it's just the fact that I don't want to live there. And also, he had his own goals and things that he still wanted to accomplish. He was pursuing football.
Right.
He said, okay, let's just suppose we do get an apartment. What if I get picked up by a team and you cannot afford the freaking rent?
Right.
So, because he was still actively pursuing his dream. So yeah, I came to realize that the hard way. I'm like, I can't make someone move in with me when they're still on the route to like fulfill their own dreams. Y no quiero que sea por convivencia tampoco.
Right.
Like, quiero que sea como un momento feliz and like, oh yes, we are ready to move in together. But yeah, I did move back to Chicago. Luckily, that same job that I had, I lasted in Albion less than a year. I think it was 8 months.
I thought it was longer.
No, I lasted there, living there, working
yeah,
there, working there. Yes.
Yeah.
Pero living there, I only lasted, I think, 8 to 9 months.
Yeah.
And luckily, they gave me the opportunity to work from home in Chicago. So that was amazing. But yeah, there was moments where I would feel so freaking lonely. And I do want to give a shout out to like my sister or to my friends and some of my cousins that I would ask to borrow.
Yeah.
And without hesitation.
Yeah.
And I hated asking for money, but you know what? I'm really good at paying back. I feel like that's why they kept helping me. And I feel like I'm in a position now where,
It's
like,
abundance.
if they need help, I don't hesitate to help because I'm just like,
depends, because you have to be a people pleaser. Now you have to set boundaries.
no, but especially the people that I needed help from.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, or not even that, even if it's like somebody that asks for help, because I know what it feels like to be in that vulnerable state.
Yeah.
Y honestamente estoy muy agradecida por todas las bendiciones que han venido mi camino. But you know what? When I came back, then I couldn't stand living with my fucking parents anymore.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand living with them. I was just so happy to be back, but then I'm just like,
the breaking point was Conchita though.
And that's why I'm like, it's so important to realize your domino effect of decisions, because impulsively I decided to get a dog without my dad's permission, and he fucking hates animals. Like, siempre cuando éramos niñas nos compraba perros, que yo creo que para no enamorarnos de los animales,
y ya al
y
mes,
se
2
deshacía.
meses se lo regalaba.
It's because he would get them as like puppies sometimes, and then obviously they're not freaking trained, dude. You have to take a lifetime training a freaking dog. And ay, no, porque se cagaron y porque esto y el otro, y se deshacía de ellos. And so my final domino effect theory, I impulsively decided to get a dog, because when the fuck do you see golden retrievers getting sold? Honestly, like, golden retrievers has been my dream dog since I was little. And somebody was selling them, and I was just like, please, me and Marlon went halves on this dog. And you know what's crazy? Like, I think they were selling her and her litter for like $1,000 each, and I couldn't afford that. And I was just like, with this person that I was speaking with, they were like, you know what? We just want these dogs to go in a good home. How much can you afford? Or like, does 700 sound good? I'm like, yeah. They're like, okay, 700 and una charola de spaghetti verde. I'm like, best, I knew my fucking talents were gonna come in. I knew my talents were gonna come in through.
I know nobody's gonna ask me for food because yo no sé cocinar.
So I cooked a charola de spaghetti verde. Me and Marlon went halves on the 700, and I decided to get this dog. And my dad,
make it flip.
Dude, he did not. He was just like, nope. Un día cuando no estés en la casa la voy a vender. Oh my God, my dad was really bad. That was actually the time.
You even told me to have him here in my house. Have Conchita here, and I couldn't because of my husband.
No, I was telling you to have me live here.
Remember? Yeah, she asked me too. She's like, can I live in your basement?
I'm like, I'll pay you a rent.
I'm like, no. I already had you as a roommate once.
Yeah, no. And also, she's a married person. Like, it's not the same when you have somebody else in your home. And I understood. I didn't take that the bad way. I'm like, okay, I understand. Doesn't hurt to fucking ask. But yeah, that actually started a bad relationship for the first time. I don't think I ever had esa mala relación con
Con
mi
mi papá.
papá. Tú la tuviste o sea, de
De teenager.
adolescente y yo la tuve ya de más grande. I couldn't stand my dad. I actually had there was really bad tension between me and my dad during that time because I was living in the house and he was being such a,
Cualquier cosa te decía de todo.
yeah.
He will get bothered by
And
you.
she was a puppy.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, well, yeah, that led to a really bad argument that I had with my dad. I had never in my life yelled at my dad the way that I did because one time we did have a really bad argument. He was just like, "Oh, because I had came out as my previous job when I was working at the college. I had to travel a lot because I was a recruiter, and I had visited. I always had somebody to take care of Conchita. I would pay them to take care of her. So I had just came back from California, and my dad hadn't seen me obviously for like a week, and then he sees me on Saturday. He was like, "Oh, ¿a qué horas llegaste?" I'm like, "Oh, I got here last night." "Oh, okay. Ah, y nomás te quiero dejar saber que ya encontré a alguien que va a comprar tu perra. Pero no te preocupes, te voy a dar la mitad." Oh my God. I was just like, pues mi papá le encanta hacernos renegar. And I was just like, psh, yeah, right. Who the fuck do you think you are to sell my dog? He was like, sí. Y que esto con el otro, no me gusta que tengas perra y eso con el otro. And then we started yelling at each other. Which, mind you, like we already had so much tension between us because of my dog. And my mom was downstairs in the basement working. And we were yelling at each other so bad. I actually had to do an online conference or like an online. I was part of a because I was a recruiter. I had to constantly be working even on weekends. I had to do an online conference in like 30 minutes or an hour or 40 minutes. I was about to do a conference, and me and him are yelling back and forth. I'm crying so much. And I yelled at him from the top of my fucking lungs. Porque, güey, tú sabes.
Yeah.
Yo ni creo que tú me has escuchado
No.
gritar así, güey.
No.
I wish you would have heard how fucking...
My mom told me. She's like, ay,
Dude, I yelled at him so bad because he said, pues lárgate de la pinche casa, pues. And he had never told me that before.
Right.
And in my head, I'm just
he
like...
would say that shit to me all the time.
You're like, actually... He told me that many times.
Yeah.
But he had never told me that. I'm the baby of the house.
Right.
He had never told me to get the fuck out of the house. And I'm in my head, I was just like, how do you tell someone you love that?
Yeah.
Especially the way I've always been with you. I'm like, how do you tell someone you love? I'm like, why are you treating your daughter like this? And I yelled at him so bad that my mom came upstairs because she had clients downstairs. And she was like, Hector, ¿cómo se te ocurre gritarle a tu hija? Te dije. Because my mom knew that he was going to say that.
Yeah.
Because my mom was telling me that throughout that whole week that I wasn't there, that my dad was like, cuando regrese Alondra le voy a decir que ya no quiere ese pinche perro en la casa, que sé que el otro. And she was just like, why would you tell her? Like, you haven't even given her time to like settle in. She had just came back from traveling. Y la manera que se lo dijiste, like, why would you say it like that?
Right.
But eventually, what I want to get at is that we did fight and everybody hated him. You hated him, remember? You couldn't stand my dad.
No.
My mom couldn't stand him. They couldn't stand that you guys couldn't stand that he made me feel that way.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was so emotional every time I would talk about it because I was like, does he not love me? Like, why would he tell me that? And you guys didn't even want to talk to him. My dad would go inside his room. And then I remember he tried talking to you. No, ves, Alondra, es que Alondra me gritó. Pero ves, papá, ¿tú por qué eres?
Yeah. Yo me
All
ponía
the
bien
women in the
alterada,
family against him.
against my
Pobrecito.
dad.
Nobody was on my dad's side.
No.
So then
I think Javi was the only one in his in
he finally
his
like ya cuando todos le estaban dando la espalda, güey, mi papá era como un perro rechazado también, like damn, like nobody's in my fucking side, and he would lock himself inside the room.
Yeah.
And then he came out when I was in the dining room eating. He comes and sits down. Oh, because he was being a dick too. Like I would be eating, or like he would be sitting down, and he would walk away. Bien, like he would.
Dramático.
Yeah, and he would go inside his room, like to not talk to me. But this one time, ya cuando todas le dieron la espalda, he was just like, mija, ¿qué tal si yo y tu mamá mejor te ayudamos a comprar una casa? Which what I mean by that is like to help me get the process started. ¿Qué tal si te ayudamos para que compres tu casa? And honestly, like, if I would have never gotten Conchita, I wouldn't have gotten a house as fast as I did.
Yeah.
Basically, my mom and my dad, they did not give me money. They took out a loan on their name because I was already going to be taking out a huge loan to buy a house. And then Marlon, he was just like, Well, because obviously I bought a multi-unit, so my mortgage wouldn't be too expensive out of pocket. So, and then also that's what led Marlon to move in with me, because I was like, come on, Marlon, move to Chicago, and um that was what made us move in together. Me buying the house, because he was like, okay, like I'm gonna help you, because obviously a house is not like an apartment.
Right.
He's gonna help me out with whatever. So if I would have never gotten Conchita, I would have never gotten my house. And who knows how long it would have taken until Marlon and I would have started living together.
Yeah.
So now he's been living in Chicago for 2 years. And this is why every decision you make in life, just like impulsively buying a fucking dog, can lead to something great.
So as we're finishing up, what's something that you're really proud of as of right now?
I'm really proud of to have my car paid off. Thanks to my cuñado that let me buy his car in payments. I'm really proud of being a homeowner and being a landlord. Really proud of my education, and then being patient enough to now having the career that I have. I work for the government. I'm at a really good place with content. Social media was something that happened unexpectedly for me and Marlon. And honestly, that's something that I wanted to continue to grow. Yo sé que me necesito poner las pinches pilas porque tengo como 1000 videos que no tengo editados. Pero I am trying to get into the groove of finding my passion again for it. I'm really proud of where I am with my social media, and I can't wait for it to grow more.
Right.
But yeah.
If those que están viendo y no la han seguido a mi hermana, está como Alondra Alcázar, la pueden encontrar aquí.
Alondra Alcázar _ on TikTok and on Instagram.
So, y la voy a etiquetar. Well, vamos a estar etiquetadas en el...
Yeah, all of the details about both of our personal pages, everything's going to be in the description. If you guys have any questions for us, si en algún momento quieren compartir una historia, lo podemos discutir.
Right.
And on the next episode, if you guys want to send us questions, and like I said, mention your own story and what is our input on it, we can definitely discuss it in the next
Si ocupas
episode.
un consejo, cualquier cosa, un consejo de hermanas, te lo podemos dar. Vamos a tener el correo para que ustedes también vayan a mandar sus historias.
But that does conclude a little bit of my story. I feel like I could dive deep into every single topic that I talked about today, but that was kind of like overall. Yeah. But definitely some things that need to be talked about a little bit deeper. But we do appreciate you guys for watching this episode, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.